Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, August 31st, and we're going to put a card together using the Amber Autumn stamp set. This is coming on Wednesday to the online, this is the September to December mini catalog. So it comes on Wednesday. You guys can order, but let's go ahead and show an example. Using this set, it is a 7-piece stamp set, a 5-piece die set. So a little bit smaller a die set, but this die alone makes up for it. It's fabulous. All right, I'm going to do the 4 square approach, and I'm going to do it 3 3/4 by 5 are going to be my final measurements. So I'm going to take an inch off of both sides. So that makes this 10 by 7.5. More strips for my little bag over here. And now we're going to take this stamp here, the one that didn't cut out too good on yesterday's video. We're going to take that stamp and we're going to do that in the cross section here. Now we're not going to add a lot of extra because we don't have a lot of little extra things, but we will cut out some die cuts for that. So let's go ahead, put this on a block. I think this block is big enough. Nope, need to go one size up. There we go. So, and instead of using Memento, I'm going to use Pecan Pie because it's more nature-like. Now this might tend to bleed a little bit more if we watercolor, but if we let it dry long enough, it shouldn't be too bad. So again, I'm just going to go down. First, I'm going to go right across the middle. All right, so there we have across the middle. So when I cut this will be the top edge. So let's go ahead and just do one this way going down and one this way going up. And we'll do just a little bit more of the leaf there. All right, so there we have our basic 4 square, 4 corners, whatever you want to call it. Let me grab out really quick my wipe just to get that cleaned off a little. Sorry, I know that's kind of loud because it's near the speaker, but I just want to get that up off of there so we don't get that on our project. All right, so let's go ahead now. And we're going to cut that at our 5 by 3 3/4. And 3 3/4. All right, so there we have that. Now I think, because you need to kind of look at them, this one needs a little more stamping on it. So we'll probably do that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and take this one. And you know what we could do? No, watch. What we're going to do on here is, let's do it this way. Let's go ahead and we're going to move this out of the way over here. Put my trimmer back over there. Let's go ahead and let's fussy cut around the outside line. I'm hoping my contacts, because sometimes with my contacts, when I do things close up like this, they kind of go weird. I have the multi-view, which are like bifocal contacts, but not quite. So sometimes it makes it a little difficult. You know what, I'm just gonna, let's do this. Let's take the big part of it out so I can go in and get my small part. Be much easier to handle this when it's not a very big card. So we're just gonna, and you usually try as much as possible for fluidity to move your paper and not your scissors. But I don't really like fussy cutting, so I love dies. I'm going to come back in and get that part in here in a little bit. Oh my goodness. So what are you guys doing on this long? In the United States here, we're, this is our Labor Day weekend. So most people have a 3-day weekend now. Unfortunately, most of the people, the laborers that we're honoring, some of them are working today and tomorrow because, you know, that's what you have to do. So I plan on not doing much. When I have a 3-day weekend, I do have a bunch of medical appointments coming up. So I plan on doing as little as possible. All right, so now I'm going to come in and I'm just going to get these little areas here. All right, let's do that, because then we'll grab base. Let me see if I have, oh, I do have a green base. Of course, I have Old Olive. Gotta love that. So then what I'll do is I'll put this, maybe I'll get a second color, depending on what we color, and have it on there. Oh, that'll look nice. All right, so many ways to color. You can watercolor using your painters. You can watercolor using your blending pens. You could use the watercolor pencils with Gamsol, or you can use your blends. I think I am going to do my blender pens. Now I do have 2 different sets of blender pens, and I can't remember. Oh, this one is for my watercolor pencils. It's not as stained. This is the one I use for my stamp pads. All right, so let's grab out the Old Olive. Let's grab out Timid Tiger, and let's grab Darling Duckling. So I think I'll use for the blender pens. All right, and we're going to use this scratch piece of paper. I mean, yes, I could use this for excuse me, stamping, but I'm just going to use this to scribble off my color. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get some of that ink on the lid. Didn't do a very good job. So then what I would do is just take one of my blocks, put ink on that block. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. I'm going to put that yellow, just going to lay down yellow all over that leaf, so the part that does come out after we put the green on, you'll see some shading underneath there. Now so I've done 2 things today that I usually don't do a lot of. I don't do a lot of fussy cutting, and I don't do a lot of coloring. People say they find fussy cutting and coloring relaxing. I don't. But that's just me, because I'm more of an impatient person. I don't like to wait for things. That's why a lot of my videos, as you can tell, are not hours long making one card. I like getting in and getting out. All right, I'll put this over here. So I have to clean that off later. Let's go ahead and grab another one. Let's do, oh, I need a brown. Oh, I already have it here for the acorns. So now let's go ahead, do some green. Let's get any of that yellow off. Did I get green on there? There we go. I probably have some on the lid because I use Old Olive a lot. Yeah, I could have just used the lid. It's all right. All right, so now let's go in on some of these and we'll put some green. Ooh, very dark. Should have scribbled off a little bit here first. Just getting some green on there around the outside edges. And that's another thing, because we used the basic white, we didn't use watercolor paper. If you do too many layers, you can get your paper to start pilling a little bit. I'll call it pilling. I don't know what else to call it. All right, so there's the green. Let's get some of that green off. Because now we're going to do the orange, the Timid Tiger. And see, I've used the same tip this whole time. Now I'm just going to go over that, a little bit of a circular motion to get that all blended in. Trying to see what that is up there. I don't know what that is, but I don't want. I'm just doing it really light just to give it some color up there. Let's get a little bit more of that darkness off. Get rid of some of it. That was really dark up there. Go in circles there to get some of that blended out. All right, except for that part there, everything looks good. That was a big no-no, but I can't really go over it because that'll just make it worse. So now let's go on with our, oh, I think I will use this because this will be more muted as is. Let me get a lot of that orange off. Let's get some of that coloring on those acorns. I'm actually going to go in really dark on the caps of the acorn. Okay, now we're going to come in. We're just going to do those caps a little bit darker. Oh, I need to go back into that orange. I didn't get. There we go. Let me get a little more of that green in there. There we go. All right. So there's my scribbles. I got all that ink. I've used the same tip for the whole, all the colors. So I still can use that other side for cutouts if I wanted to. But used one blender pen for all of that. Now, oh, you know what? I don't know which one this is. Let's just get a little bit of color this background so it's not so stark white. Ooh, that's really dark. That Timid Tiger is a very, very dark color. Shouldn't have done that. Let's see if I can get a little yellow over there. It's just gonna make a mess now, probably. Yep, see now the paper's starting to pill up a little bit. So I've added too much color at this point. Yeah, that Timid Tiger is a very, very strong color. All right. Can you tell I don't watercolor a lot? Just not my forte. Put that over here. So now let's figure out what color. I'm wondering, since I have it so dark with that orange, if we should use that as one of our backgrounds. So that kind of makes it a little less apparent, even though it's very dark still. All right, so let's do this. So this is 5. This is almost 3 1/4. So let's do 3 1/4 by 5 1/8. So let's go 5 1/8 this way. And the reason why I'm doing the 3 3/4, which was our original measurement, is that it's a little short on that side. It wasn't, when we trimmed it out, it didn't completely stay at the same true measurement that we started with. I'm just going to trim this up just a smidge. My stamp sits in the way, I won't let my arm go down. There we go. Okay, that looks good. That's going to be our layout. Let's grab. Still feels a little wet on the back there, but we'll be okay. Go right up to the corner. Now when I go right up to the corner, I do let this set for a little bit so it won't smush. That way it gets a little more of that set up. It's more than goopy and will be more like a, okay, can't do two things at once. So when you put the glue down like this and let it set for a while, it gets to be more tacky and won't spread out when you push down on it. So that's usually what I will do. Let's put this layer down though. Try to figure out which way I cut. That has a little bit of a ridge, so this must be the downside. This, since I'm not going all the way to the edge, I can put this down right away. Because here I got right into the edge of all those little cut pieces. So this, we can go ahead, let's make sure it's opening the right way. There you go. Let's work on our greeting. We're going to have quite an open space there. I think we'll just do the autumn wishes. And let's go ahead. We'll do it right on the back of that scratch off part. We'll do this though in the black. We'll cut that down. All right, so what I'm going to do is, I have that orange line on my, I don't know if you can see, on the one track of my trimmer. I've done orange lines. So if I put it there, I know that I'm getting the same. So I'm putting the bottom of the words there when I cut. So as long as I'm put that a straight line, have that end butted right up to that orange, I know I'm getting the same cut, the same border on that. I think that went downhill just a little bit. There we go. And this one is probably pretty close. Let me get down on that line so it's straight. Yep. All right. So that's going to be a little greeting there. Of course, let's go ahead and edge it with the green. We're going to kind of bend it a little bit so it's a little bit of a stronger line, since we have a really good border cut around that word. All right, so now I think this has been long enough that it's probably tacky by now. So now we're going to go ahead and get that border all the way around. See how that's tacky? So just let me pull up. Put autumn wishes right in the middle there. We're going to pop that up. I did my tape the wrong way on this apparently, and it's split right down the middle. So let's see. Hopefully, yep, still hanging out of those backings like we like. Get this card on here straight. So hopefully I get this a little more straight. And let's put a few little in colors in there. Let's go ahead and use the in color pearls, the flat pearls. If you're ordering today, today's the last day that these will be discounted, because all the in colors are being discounted this month. So let's go ahead, let's put there, and then let's bring in that Darling Duckling. Oh, did that? Oh, there it is. Just a few little. And I talked about die cuts. Let me see, what time are we at now? Right now, we're at 23 minutes already. So what you could also do is take these little die cuts, and let's do it really quick to kind of put over where those little bloops were. So let me grab, let me go ahead and grab Old Olive. Let's grab the mini, it's right here. Let me grab my plates. Let's just cut a couple of those out. Let's see. Let's cut 3 out. Oh my goodness. I usually have my little shelf liner under there. So see, that really moved. I think we got an okay cut. It'll be good enough. Let's go ahead and do another one there. All right. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead now and move this back out of the way. Sorry, it's right by the microphone. So let's go ahead, bring this back now. Take out those little middle pieces. Maybe I'll bring it down like that. We might only need two. No, you know, I think I want to go like that too, because there's a lot of empty space right there. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's get our fine tip glue. Let's get just very little. Oh, maybe I didn't clean it off after I used it yesterday. There we go. We're just going to do very, very thin lines. I'll let that rest there for a little bit. We'll do the same here. Just very, very thin lines. Not what I wanted to do. And on this, we're going to put there, but then we're going to get pop-up dot, one of the minis. We'll cut a very thin slice off of this edge. So we can put that right here on this. So it's not going to be seen, but it's going to give a little support there where that glue kind of go like that. All right. Look, that's a great way to cover up your coloring mistakes. All right, let me show you the other cards that I made yesterday. Get a few things off the table here. So I used this as a stencil. I don't know if you can tell, but I used that as a stencil. It turned out being very light. But see how there's that light stencil in the background? And then I colored with blends. Here, that's that designer series paper that we cut yesterday. We put it on top of another piece of designer series paper to kind of mimic the sky, land, the sunset. And here, now, if I do this again, I will drag the ink cubes along the card first and then die cut. But I had already die cut this and I was dragging the cubes on it, and it got caught on some of the leaves, so you can kind of see. But that also makes that pretty background. So there you are. Different cards using the Amber Autumn bundle. Thanks for watching. Give me that thumbs up if you don't mind. Send me a comment. Share with your friends or on your social media. Most of all, have a great Sunday. Thanks for stopping in and watching. Bye for now.